So you have to be a bit hesitant when sharing intimate aspects of yourself. No matter how much you smile, no matter how soft your voice is, no matter how kind your eyes are, you can always feel the vibe with someone. And I know this sounds so cliche, but the vibe will never lie. So, to conclude this video and to affirm what I'm saying, I'll give you an example that I had with a administrative advisor from Gold Standard, or Gold, whatever the hell we were called, Gold Chip, Gold Standard. I want to give you an example. So basically, we had this thing called Professional Olympics, and anytime I would sit with this woman, whether it was a mock interview, whether it was the actual Professional Olympic that we would have with our year partners, she would always say I was too robotic. She would say that I'm too, precise. I'm too conscious of myself. I'm too, uptight. Loosen up. Let loose. She would always make these references as if I was trying to be something that I'm not. But me not fully disclosing myself unto you doesn't mean that I'm not being my true self. I can be myself and still withhold information. So I think a lot of it just stemmed from, again, my lack of transparency and her perception being reality. So, it was like anytime I would sit with her, there would always be a problem. Anytime I sat with her, there would always be a critique. If she could give me a 10, she would give me a 9. And if she would give me a 9, if she couldn't give me a 9, she'd probably give me a 5. It was just like that extreme. At least that's how it felt. And that's how it was at certain times. Even when I would get ranked by her, it wouldn't be a complete 10. It would be like a 9, 9.5. So, anyways, anytime I would sit with her for any of our professional Olympics, especially for the actual professional Olympics we had with our year partner, she just critiqued me heavily. But what was so interesting about that experience was that I was accompanied by 2 other classmates. One was very kind, very nice, and very much so a good person. And because of this, she was almost naive to a lot of things. And I feel like that's a perfect candidate for the year program. She's malleable, she's easily molded. So I think this advisor took a liking to that and, definitely recognized that. So she didn't get judged as harshly as I did, even when she was struggling to get words out, even when she was struggling to articulate herself, even with the repeat, can I start over again? Oh my God, I'm sorry. And her like literally having a minor breakdown and panic attack. Not to sound like I'm ridiculing her for her experience. Of course, if you're anxious, if you're nervous, it's natural. I get it. But rank her honestly, rank her truly. And if you were to rank her in the way that you ranked me, she would probably gotten a 5 or a 9. But she got a 10. She got 10s across the board. She did mention certain things that she could have worked on, but she was like, but you did good. But you did great. But you kept pushing through. Da 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 da. But when it was me, it was like, you're too tight. You need to loosen up. You're talking too robotic. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want me to say, hey sis, like, what's up, girl? Hey Pooh, like, what you doing? Like, girl, no. So yeah, that was me and this one other classmate. And then the other classmate that I had, she's very assertive, but she almost asserts herself in a way that comes off aggressive. And I think given her reasoning for joining this program, given her personal experiences with some of the advisors, just given certain things that happened prior to our Europe experience, a lot of the administrative staffing took a liking to her. And again, the ridicule that I received was not the ridicule that she received, even though she could have been a little more exuberant about her execution. And that's all I'm going to say. So it's just interesting because if I didn't know who I was, I would have believed everything that she was saying about me. Not to say that when you receive criticism, it isn't always true or it shouldn't be taken into consideration, but I knew her intention. I knew the place that it was coming from. So I'm just glad that I understood the perception of myself so that I could understand the reality that I was being viewed from. so I could understand how I should perceive myself, how I should perceive this person, how I should exist within certain environments and around certain individuals. Because once I got greeted by our year partner, that's when the vibe changed. And that's when it was really honest. She was, I was about to say critiquing me. What was it called? She was not encouraging me. She was I don't know, I guess she was just, I can't find the word that I want to say, but she was basically reassuring me like, wow, you're really good, you're a really bright student, you have a bright future ahead of you. That's essentially what she told me. She told me she liked what I was doing, what I was saying. I even mentioned a compliment sandwich and she loved that. I do that a lot of times when I go in interviews, especially when it's geared towards customer service. So she just liked everything that I was doing, everything that I was saying. She liked it. And she critiqued the two other classmates honestly. She gave them an honest critique. She wasn't harsh, but she was nice, and she put it in a way that was politically correct, but she did mention how they had a lot of work to do. So, I just shared this example to say sometimes skin folk ain't kinfolk. A lot of times, sadly enough, skin folk ain't kinfolk, and you just got to know. You got to be aware of your elders. I'm not saying to disobey authority, but you don't always have to appeal to the subjections of your authority. And that's essentially it. It was extremely invasive, and I think because of the personal grooming, it created a space of blurred communication. It created a space of unprofessionalism. It really felt like I was a part of a group home as opposed to a career developmental program, because it was just a lot of emotions and a lot of activities based on your personality and your domestics and, really trying to domesticate us. And a lot of us didn't really need that. No matter what your environment was, a lot of us know how to act in professional environments. Although there was certain grooming that was necessary, the activities that they gave, the tools that they were providing us was not adequately or sufficiently helping us, because the turnovers were, a bit tremendous, okay? Although it was better than previous years, the turnovers were still there, and the liabilities being welcomed into these corporations were still ever present. So you just got to be careful, essentially. I know I said a mouthful, but you got to be careful when you're in an environment that requires personal aspects of yourself. And I guess a conclusion that I would want to give to my conclusion, and after this I'm going to stop, is how sometimes the cool people aren't really that cool. Like the blunt ones that disguise their rudeness as being honest. Those ones, they can be some of the nastiest, meanest, people, but be so passive about it that you may mistaken it as you being, overly cynical about that situation or about that behavior experience. So I was really revealed to the different personality types in adults. I thought I met all that I could meet within my own family, but honey, they definitely, just like when they say your children are a reflection of the parent or of the household, our student body and the way that we function was a reflection of our administrative staffing. So, yeah, that's it. I'm done.